The CTA Red Line runs through some of Chicago's most racially diverse neighborhoods. It extends 23 miles from the city's north side to the far south. Chicagoans are well aware of the differences revealed through a simple trip on the Red Line. Harold Green is a spoken word poet in Englewood, a neighborhood on the city's south side.
Like when I was younger, this was all I really knew. Wherever my parents took me within the city and stuff like that, that's what I really knew. But like as I got older, that's when I began to realize how vast the city was and how diverse it was and how many different areas. And like I didn't go to the north side for real when I was younger. I didn't really know much about that. Being an artist and having to perform and all stuff all over the city, like I began to see how diverse the city is. And this though, like this space, this neighborhood, my upbringing, that's where everything kind of starts from and then kind of, branches out from there.
Residents like Harold Green experience firsthand what studies like the Brookings Institute confirm. Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the U.S. A standard measure of segregation indicates the percentage of African Americans that would have to change neighborhoods to match the distribution of white Americans. It ranges from 0, complete integration, to 100, complete segregation. Chicago ranked at the high end with a number of 76, following New York and Milwaukee. Ewan Hagg is a geography professor at DePaul University, specializing in gentrification and urban development.
These reports keep telling us, yes, we have segregation. They keep pushing the country to do something about it. But to do something about it means really radical changes in policy.
Chicago artists use the city as a canvas, exploring the city's segregation in their work. Many artists draw inspiration from their neighborhood's identities.
I think all of my work has like a certain, I think it has a certain like toughness to it. Even when I'm like talking about love and different beautiful things like that, like I think it has a certain level of like strength.
Green's poem, The Chicago Defender, discusses his views on Englewood's high level of violence.
I mean, I don't care about a song and dance as long as I ain't gotta hear about no shoddy blast to the foreheads of no fourth grader who just left class. Tragic, yes, but I see it every day. This isn't no hyperbole. I didn't make this story up so I could get some airplay.
Statistically, Englewood is one of the top 10 deadliest neighborhoods in the city and one of the most racially and economically segregated.
In the United States, there's a very strong correlation between income level and race. As we know, property is one of the major ways to build wealth. For so many years, African Americans were discriminated against from being able to own property. And so one of the things that we see is the average net worth of an African American family is typically far below that of a non-African American family.
Green is well aware of the social and racial stereotypes that surround the Englewood community. 2 years ago, Green compiled From Englewood with Love, a photography book about his childhood neighborhood. It shows a personal side of the community, not often shown in the media.
I think you're aware of how you represent something as a whole.
Yeah, I'm extremely aware, extremely aware, and I take it very seriously, you know what I mean? Even in the way in which I produce my art, even the things in which I choose to talk about, I think it's important because I came from an area like this, but like I'm not necessarily the average story. I ain't never sold no drugs. I ain't never been locked up. I ain't never, it's a lot of things that I've never done, but I've been, 1 degree away from these type of things. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to let that be known that every story ain't like that.
The train ride from the 79th station in the south to Wilson Street Station in the north passes through some of Chicago's most white and affluent neighborhoods. The city's downtown, Lincoln Park, and River North. 15 miles north of Englewood is Uptown, a Chicago neighborhood known for its diversity and affordability. In the 1960s and 70s, it was considered a hillbilly haven as poor Southern whites flocked to the neighborhood. Today, it is home to a blend of Asian, African American, Hispanic, and white populations. Here at the Wilson Red Line station, a CTA reconstruction project has brought many changes to the surrounding Uptown neighborhood. Chicago photographer Matt Tudor has been documenting these changes for over 10 years.
But this, like when I was first, 14, 15 years old, like these were still running. Like there was a donut shop right there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll come back?
From what I've heard, this will all be completely redone.
Matt Tudor knows the streets well around the Wilson Red Line station, right in the heart of Uptown.
How are you, man?
For 10 years, he's photographed the changing architecture and population around the station's block, from the Capone Theater to the Wilson Red Line station.
Our last winter was the end of what this area really was. It's changed to an amazing extent in a 12-month period.
Developers and urban landscapers recognize the neighborhood's cultural appeal. Many of the affordable single-room occupancy homes are now becoming condos.
Like I said, it's nice to see things change. I'm not a big one for change in neighborhoods, but I have to kind of sit back and smile as I watch things, progress forward.
These improvements in real estate and infrastructure are not unexpected in the neighborhood's demographic transition. But previous residents who shaped the neighborhood are no longer able to afford to live here. This concentrates lower-income individuals to tight pockets of the city or moves them into the suburbs.
Invariably, they strengthen already strong neighborhoods. For example, if on the north side, in Uptown, there's a big Target at the Wilson L station. You might be familiar with it. A lot of the money that Target put together was conditional on tax money supporting them. So it wasn't just all Target investing in that site. The city gave them millions of dollars to invest in that site. Now, do we see a similar level investment on the far south side, like 90th and Western? Is the city committed to some of the investments elsewhere? I don't know, and I think the city would have to sort of rethink its allocation of funding to support some of these poorer neighborhoods.
Chicago has always been known as a city of ethnically diverse and cultural neighborhoods, each with their own distinct identity and way of life. It can also lead to the concentration of poverty and increased segregation in the city. One ride on the CTA Red Line shows just how divided this city really is. For a Good Day DePaul, I'm Liz Peterson.